We got a great interview
Yes, we do.
that's on store for us today,
Hmm.
man. Tell me who we got in the camp today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're very, very excited to have this young man from the Bay Area. He is no stranger to ministry or to music. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Christopher Williams. Welcome to the Wake Up Morning Show.
Hello to the doctors, Dean and Thompson. It's definitely an honor to be with you today.
Well, it's a definite honor to have anybody from the Bay Area. You know, I sojourned in the Bay Area at the University of California, Berkeley. It wasn't an HBCU, but I tell you, the experience that I had up in the Bay Area, there was so much chocolate up there that I was blessed to be a part of the music fabric up there,
Hmm.
but more than anything else, the culture that we call the Bay
The
Area. So,
Bay.
welcome to the Wake Up Morning Show. How is the weather up your way?
Well, you know what? Actually, I lived in the Bay Area for a number of years, 40 plus years, and just recently I relocated to Atlanta just recently, and so the weather here is rainy and cold. I'm not for certain how it is in the Bay currently, but I can get a weather report for you if you need me to.
Well, no. Welcome to the ATL. We have an outlet there, but I want you to know that we're gonna always welcome you back home to
That's
California
right.
because I want to explain to you.
Teach them. Teach them.
I want to get biblical with you in the spirit realm and follow me on this.
I'll follow you.
It is said that if you're born in the United States, you are blessed.
Yes.
Well, and if you have the opportunity to live in California, you doubly blessed.
Well,
Yeah.
But if you live in the city of San Diego, you're part of the chosen few. So when you had made your move to Atlanta, God was saying that you should have came to San Diego first, so you could have been part of the chosen few before you went to Atlanta. But now that you're there, we just want to let you know that there's still room in California for you.
Well, I'm California bred and born, and as a matter of fact, consequently, I was in San Diego not long ago,
See,
and so I do have some family there, some roots there, and so there's the connection, Doctor Thompson, for sure.
see,
hey,
this man is on
hey.
it.
So let me ask you this question. Being in California for so many years, what prompted you to go basically away across country, leaving the West Coast for the South? And we do things differently out here. We got tacos and sandals and wonderful weather all the way to the South. What prompted you to go there?
And you missed In and Out and Round Table. We
There,
don't have that here,
there you go.
You
but
sure don't.
what prompted me, I pastored. I started pastoring at a young age. I was 19 years old. I'm from a family of pastors and preachers and singers. I'm fourth generation myself. And after 28 years of pastoring, I decided to retire from pastoring so I can pursue what I call the B side of my life's mission, which is to minister to the masses through my message and my music. And so we had family here in Georgia. My son, my brother, my nieces and nephews. One of my dearest friends was here. And so my wife and I had always wanted to live in the South. And so we decided to make the transition. There are some things I must say that we miss about California, but God has put his stamp of approval on our being here. Thus, I I'm talking to you today, probably because we made the transition to Georgia because that prompted a quicker pursuit of completing and pursuing the music that I've always had within me.
So let me ask you this question. You say you come from your fourth generation pastoring and preaching. What were the churches in the Bay Area that your family was over? And when you made the decision to retire, how did you leave your flock in a healthy condition?
Well, my dad, uh, pastor, started at 19 as well, but his final pastoral assignment before he died was the Bethany Baptist Church in Oakland, California. At that time, was one of the premier churches of that city. Prior to that, he had pastored in Southern California. I was born in the Inland Empire area. My dad pastored there, and so his last assignment was in Oakland. Um, I I was blessed to start and to plant two churches in the Bay Area. Uh, one of which is the church at Antioch that I started in a suburb area of the Bay Area, and it grew fast. Within a short span of time, we were able to acquire property. We were able to grow, and I was blessed to have close friends that were doing incredibly well in that area. And so, a good friend of mine that I went to high school with, Bishop K.R. Woods. We have been in friendship and relationship since we were in the ninth grade. He had a campus in Berkeley, California, called Covenant Worship Center.
Yep.
And so what we decided to do, he opposed to me just leaving them, opposed to me entrusting them to a novice, if you will. I decided to hand that ministry over, to place that ministry in his hands. He then made it a Brentwood or Antioch campus of what he already had happening in Berkeley. And I'm excited to say that that ministry is flourishing. It's doing well. It takes more courage and faith to leave something you start, you plant that's doing well than it does to leave it when when it's not doing its best. Many pastors I know leave pastoring when they're surviving and not thriving, when when their health is not at a place where they can enjoy the next phase or next season of their life. And at a young age of 53, I was able to leave the church in good hands so that I can have the energy, the vitality, the vision yet in me to pursue what I've always wanted to do along with preaching and pastoring.
Well, I want to deal with the rumor.
You always got a rumor.
I know, but
listen, there's always one. I know.
I just want to deal with the rumor, and you can help resolve this rumor today.
All right, I'll try my best.
Yeah, word has it that when you decide to leave the Bay Area, it's marriage to shut down, because he said, well, if he ain't gonna be here anymore, we just gonna shut marriage down, and marriage ain't been back since.
Well, if that's the case, it can't be blamed on me because marriage closed years ago. You must know something about the Bay. I know you. That's your card to let me know that you're really from the Bay if you know about marriage.
Right.
Marriage was the premier after the church hangout spot. If you wanted to see all your friends from every church in Oakland, you would see them at marriage. And so the chicken, the apple pie a la mode, and the roll.
Yeah, I tell you, I was youth pastor at Mingleton Temple Church of God in Christ.
Oh yeah,
and,
I know the church well.
I literally enjoyed the Bay Area because of so much of the culture and so much of us there. And and tell me this, being in such a cultural environment, such a rich music environment, when you made the transition, was there really any type of shock for you, or was it just a continuation of what you had already been seeing?
Well, for me, it was just a continuation. I mean, I come from a musical family. Consequently, I have a lot of friends that are in the industry that are musicians, and so for me, it wasn't, it wasn't anything new. It wasn't anything shocking, because I had kind of been entrenched in it, although I had not officially recorded anything or released anything, I should say, that was my own. I was featured on some things here and there, recorded some music that we never released, but I was always kind of entrenched and a part of that culture. And so it was really nothing new to me. It was just a transition now that I become more entrenched in as things have evolved.
So, have you been writing for a long time for other artists or just for yourself? Has it been placed, or all this is just a fresh new beginning for you as a solo artist?
Well, I've been writing for myself for a while, and never did. For instance, the song that is my first single, "Now Was the Time." I wrote that song probably 20 plus years ago.
Wow.
And just never, music was releasing music was different then. And while it's more challenging for the industry, you can agree with me that it's more easier now for the independent artist to release and have music heard.
Totally.
Because of the digital platforms. While that's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it is, I believe, kind of It has lessened the financial impact in that regard, but it has opened the door for many artists to get their music heard than ever before. And so now was the time for me to write, release. And it's amazing because I've been writing songs. I have several songs that I've written that we're going to be recording. And I was just speaking with someone the other day, and they're going to be recording a project in the Bay Area. And I sent them a song, and they're going to record that song. And so it's God is just it's almost like a snowball effect that I'm enjoying the benefit in the blessing of being able to enter this industry officially, and not only having record my first single myself, but the second song that I've written. Well, that another song that I've written, not the second, but another song that I've written will be recorded probably later on this year. And so I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm the new kid on the block, if you will.
Well, timing is very important in this industry. We can do something before it's time or do something too late. So it's very, very important about your timing. And people get so excited and get so anxious, but they have to remember you want to own your own stuff. So years later it won't be the greatest of, and then you have no input, no money coming in. So you
Right.
did it the right way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now I want to ask you a question. See, I love getting into the personal business of the artist because they need to know who you are.
Being nosy.
So, first of all, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. So let me just
Praise
ask
God.
you, pastor, singer, Californianite from Oakland. You're married. Tell me, when your wife hears your music, what is the energy and the reaction she has when her baby come up with a great song like "Now Is the Time"?
Well, I'll give you the response that's good for our listeners, and I'll save the other response for off record.
For a
Okay.
letter date.
But she's been my number one cheerleader, supporter, encourager
Mm-hmm.
in making sure this song was released.
Mm-hmm.
When we prepared to release it on the 12th of this month, she was sending out more text messages and emails to friends and family than I did. When I did the interview with Get Up Mornings the other day, she was just as excited as I was. And although we have a relationship there, I mean, she was just as excited as I was. She is, over the top happy that that the purpose of my life is being exposed, because if I'm happy and walking in purpose, then our family, our home, our house is happy because we're enjoying being in purpose. Because when you're not in purpose, when you're not doing what you're called to do, there's a level of frustration that comes with a lack of fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're fulfilled, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in this season, it brings about fulfillment. It brings about happiness. It's a blessing to everybody. And so, to answer that in a nutshell, she's probably more excited, gets as excited as I do when she hears the song, because she encouraged me to make sure it was done.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that because a lot of people don't understand when you are in ministry and you also are married and have a spouse, that your move and how you can move is largely dependent upon your helpmeet. And
Yes, sir.
I think that it's so important that people not only see the person that's out front, but understanding that that helpmeet is a catalyst for them to be able to be out front. So I always like to celebrate the spouses along with
Yeah.
the artist, because a lot of times the sacrifice that takes place when you're on the road or you have to preach or someone calls you up because someone got sick, that spouse is there praying for you, but also interceding and holding the fort down. when you need
Absolutely.
them to.
Absolutely.
Growing up in that Bay Area, man, you guys have Santana, you have the Hawkins, you had Danny Bell Hall, you have Lena Bird Miles, you have the Wheelers, you have all these wonderful musicians and singers and stuff. How was it growing up around that?
It was incredible. I mean, you know, the glory days of the Hawkins family were some of the most incredible days because we had them right at our fingertips. I mean, we could go up the street, up the freeway, and we could hear the melodious voice of a Walter Hawkins,
Mm,
or the incredible soprano of a Tremaine,
mm.
or the smoothness of Edwin. I mean, it was right there. And some of the, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I was a bagger at Safeway. I was a courtesy clerk, as we called them
What
back
high school did you
then.
go to?
I went to Skyline. I graduated from Skyline
They had a
High
good
in
track
Oakland.
team.
Wait a minute. That means he was up in the hills, y'all.
Oh,
Ooh.
come on, don't, man.
They had a good track team.
Now y'all want to bring my zip code into the music conversation. But as I was getting back to my story, the Safeway though was not in that zip code, but it was near the lake. If you know anything about Lake
Yep.
Merritt, and one of the highlights of my time there was I was bagging one day, and Walter walks in
Wow.
because he lived by the lake, and
Wow.
so he walks in, and I had met him before because my dad had preached for Walter. Walter had preached for my dad, and had come to our church, and so, but it was just the iconic, presence of a Walter Hawkins. And then I was in the mall one day out in Pleasanton, even as an adult, and I ran into Edwin. Now I had been in their presence before, but just the iconic, and then
Mhm.
now to see other generations who've been impacted by, and you forget groups like Tony,
Yes, sir.
and others who Confunction and
Lenny
others who
Williams.
Lenny, who hailed from the Bay Area as well. But to see what God is doing in Alina Bird Mound,
Yes.
is amazing. And so the Bay Area is full of rich musical
Mhm.
heritage. And I think many times we get put on the short end of that stick, but yet the Bay Area is full I mean, there is a sound
Yes.
that came from the Bay Area that has been duplicated around the world. And then, you mentioned Olivet, Oakland,
Oh. Whew.
Pastor Greg Hunter, who recorded under Bishop Gordon Humphrey, a dear friend of mine. The musical heritage and history of the Bay cannot be denied. And Lawrence Matthews, I mean,
I
just
was
the
just
list
getting ready to
goes
say
on.
him.
Who's a very dear friend. Matter of fact, you can look out for something from me and him in the very near future. But the Bay Area is rich in history, rich in musical heritage, and I'm honored and blessed to have been impacted so much by the Bay Area. I was there for 40 since from the age of 11 to the time of I was 53. So I was there for years,
Wow.
and so the Bay Area means a lot to me. It will always be home.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, had it not been for the Bay Area, I would not have met Kevin Bond, who ended up being the producer on this
Ooh.
single. And so during that time, he was there working with the Hawkins,
Right.
and he would at night and even some mornings come by Olivet. I happened to preach at Olivet one morning. Kevin Bond was there. I preached, and he never forgot a message I preached.
Wow.
And when I reached out to him years ago, he reminded me, and thus began a relationship that's benefiting our lives and hopefully the world as they hear this new music.
And
So the Bay is,
he was brought from Chicago by Edwin Hawkins
yes,
and them to the Bay Area.
right, exactly,
And the,
exactly.
and, the, and the craziest thing is, I'm going down memory lane with you because of the fact that, I wanted to ask the Skyline because I actually was intern at Skyline, Havis Court,
Yeah.
and Castlemont.
Oh yeah.
And I know exactly the Safeway you're talking about. But one of the things that I love because being played for James Mitchell, played for with
I know
Lawrence
James.
Matthews.
Hmm.
One of the thing about the Bay Area is, I was in college and I would leave on Thursday evening or Friday morning, and we would tour. We would go to San Jose. You could do a full tour
Hmm.
just in the Bay Area,
Hmm.
and literally you could be in Oakland 1 minute, 30 minutes later in San Francisco, go back up, and it was a beautiful time of ministry. It was something coming from San Diego that I wasn't used to seeing so much culture and so
Hmm.
much talent. I used to tell people as an executive, when we're in the Bay Area, you could literally go to the studio, and if you were 15 minutes early, you were already late, and there was somebody there waiting to take
In
your
your booth.
position in the
Hmm.
studio. So I always tell people when y'all come in and say you're on time, you're already late because if in the Bay Area there was so much talent that people was like, oh, he's not here. Okay, go ahead and set up. Go ahead and set up.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, we came down
Yeah.
there on tour with Eddie Baltrop and the Voice of Fulfillment, and I remember those great trips. We would go to San Francisco to James Adams Church. We would
That
go to
I,
Ernestine
that
Cleveland
I
Reeves.
man, wow, yeah. I remember you all because Vera. Didn't you have? It was somebody
Yeah.
named Vera that.
Vera
Yeah,
Vera Vera
I,
LeGrand
I
White. She's still
right,
singing
yeah,
now.
yeah. I know. I at one time, Bishop James Adams is a close friend of mine. At one time, I was his youth pastor, and so on one of those occasions, I was probably there. I'm very familiar with that choir, and right in San Diego, one of my father's dearest friends, J. Lindsay Whitmell, pastor of the Mount Zion Baptist
Yes,
Church.
Yes.
Pastor
I
Whitfield.
preached there.
Yep.
I pastored there. I preached there several times. He and my dad were close friends, and I talked to him not long ago. So
Wow.
what a small world.
Well,
Yes.
Whitmill, we always tease him because Whitmill and Gaines were best
Right.
of friends.
They were. They
And
were.
my uncle, who is Bishop Blake, used to always laugh that when the Whitmill and Gaines were in the same car and there'd be a sweet potato pie between them, they'd be hitting
Hmm.
each other's hand to try to get to the sweet potato pie. So none of them ate because they kept hitting each other's hand.
Right.
But we have those are some of the forefathers in our community
Hmm.
that have
Yeah.
done just amazing work. I want to move forward now to your music.
Yes. This new single.
Yeah, this new single.
Now was the time. Um, it is a song, as I mentioned, that I wrote nearly 20 years ago.
Wow.
And as I continue to echo, it's a declaration to really encourage listeners and those that hear it to move with a sense of urgency and no longer allow fear to get in the way of their dreams. It's really a call to move into what we were made for, and it 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 has. I've had to take a dose of my own medicine in getting this song done because every now and then my wife would say, "Now was the time. Let's get it done. Now was the time." And so it's now. It's not later. A lot of people allow fear. And one of the biggest things, especially in the music industry,
Hmm.
is and well, in anything really, we allow the feeling or the thought of what people are
Others.
going to think or say about what we release. What we allow. Well, I don't sing like this person. I don't. Man, my production's not like this person. I don't have the approach or the placement in my vocals as this person does. Or what if they don't like it? We allow all of that to get in the way. And
Yeah.
my thing is this: if God gave it to you, then it really doesn't. It matters less about what people say and about what you give to them
Come on.
because God gave it to you.
Come on.
And so I just said, you know what? I know God has gifted me. May not have, I may not be this person or that person, but I'm who I am, and I have a song, and I believe that it'll bless and make impact in the lives of some people.
Yes.
And so I said, let's go. And I went after one of the best producers I could find, and he put what I call that bonded music effect on it, and the rest, as they say, is history. And I'm excited about. And here's what I asked God to do. I told God, sitting in my driveway, I said, God, I need you to take this song where I could not,
Yes.
because I'm limited in what I can do with it. So I need you to do with it what I can. And I'm excited after 20 years of I wrote it. It went through the hands of a few different producers, but when Kevin got his hands on it, it was like magic, and it was a God moment for him and me and the singers, and I'm really happy. I'm excited. I'm still in a state of numbness and shock because when I hear it on the radio, I've heard it played, and I'm like, wow,
That's me.
I dreamed about this day, and I'm humbled by it, and I'm likewise humbled and honored to have the chance to share it with you all.
Well, I do have to say, not tooting our own horn, but I do have to say we are known for dropping the biggest hits in the industry. Normally, we get the hits out there before people even know the hits and everything like that. And I didn't know who you were. I'm just gonna be honest. I got an email and it said, "This is our interview for the day." Now they didn't tell me you was from the Bay Area, so right then and there you got points because I'm like said, "Okay, that's my stomping ground."
He didn't have to know.
You know, and first of all, don't interrupt me when I'm going for it. You know, number two
He's
is
going forth.
yeah. Number two, I'm just gonna testify. Can I
Right.
testify on my
Yes,
own?
sir. Yes,
Testify.
Yeah,
sir.
can I go?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I'm the one that has to set up the music in the morning. He's over there just looking cute and everything for all his fans. That's
Right.
why the camera's
And,
more on him.
and setting up
You know,
setting up the interviews,
you
booking
know.
the interview.
No, I'm like saying, but right now you just over there look at it.
Yeah.
Don't be rolling your eyes
Yeah.
and everything. So I'm playing it. I got the track
Right.
and I'm playing it and I'm like, oh, this is good. Normally I just hear the first little segment
Right.
of it. And then I place it for us to do the interview. So before I knew it, I had listened to the whole entire song. I said, "Oh, this is good."
I heard
This
it too. I was like, "Who
said,
is that?"
I said, I got to go call the program director and say this needs to go in high rotation. And being
Wow.
that we are a media base and a sound
Sound
exchange
exchange.
station,
Come on.
Wow.
and being heard in over 71 countries, we get ready to get on this because now you the brother. See, let me give you the fist now. You
Yeah,
the
yeah.
brother, and we want to see you do really well. This is a blessed song. And I thank God for you listening to his voice and understanding your assignment in this season. We want to encourage you in anything that we can do to assist you to the next level. That's what we're going to do.
Thank you so much. I'm honored by that, and it just reinsures and reinforces for me on so many levels that I heard God in the right way and at the right time. And my prayer is that the more God uses this song, the more humble He makes me, because in this industry, it can kill you. And I've already found that out. I've met some people who've had major success, but they had the worst spirit and attitude.
Come on.
And I just want to, I want to thank you all. And I must thank Tina Carter
Tina
because
Carter.
she was the connector.
Yeah.
I think Tina is a major connector of people.
Of everybody.
And she has for years. Matter of fact, Tina likewise was a member of Bishop James Adams' church. Speaking of small world,
Yeah.
And so that's where we met. But she has for years been one to connect me and encourage me to connect with people because she's known likewise the desire that I've had to record and produce and put music out. And so for her to make this connection and then likewise for me to meet you all. And I believe that this is not just some one-time meeting by chance. I believe that this is something that will be a not only reciprocal, but yet a meeting that will have some residual effect and impact. And so I'm honored to be able to. And she didn't, and the thing about it is, she didn't tell me who I was interviewing with. She just said they'll get in contact with you. I'm like, can I at least know their names?
Right.
And she didn't give me a name. And I don't know if that was a part of what God was trying to set up.
Yeah.
But again, I'm honored to have your support. I'm honored to that. It blesses me that you are blessed by what God gave me, because I don't take that for granted. Please know that. It's a blessing for me to know that you're blessed by it.
My last question for you is simply this. Christopher Williams, are you going by Christopher Williams, Chris Williams? Are you using an initial in the middle? What do you want people to address you as to continue to build the brand?
Well, in talking with one of my advisors, who we went with Christopher Williams because, in hope, and it did happen, that people would be exposed to this music and message sometimes by accident.
Correct.
And if you can hear what I'm saying,
Makes sense.
And so we said, okay, why don't we take a risk and go that route? Although I'm known to many people as Pastor Chris, that's kind of what everybody calls me.
Right.
But why don't we take a risk and use your full name, because it may just open the door to a percentage of people that may search your name, hear
Because
your music
mhm,
under the guise of thinking
mhm,
that you're the other Christopher Williams.
right.
Mhm.
And so, not that I'm trying to take his fame, he's like that, I'm not, but but that's why we went that route, and in hope that it would help to build a different side of me,
Mhm,
so that people can see me in a different light,
Mhm.
mhm,
and so thus the name Christopher Williams, which is the name my mama gave me.
right.
So I'm gonna ask this question: will you reach back out to us when the other Christopher Williams call you and want to do a project with you? Will you reach will you
Absolutely,
reach back out to us? Because I
absolutely,
believe it's gonna happen. I believe that there's a
absolutely.
ministry opportunity with him and you that God is gonna bring to pass.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I received that. And I absolutely want to reach back out, and whatever I can do, or whatever we can do in the future, near future, distant future, together. I'm in full support of what you all are doing there in San Diego. I'm hoping that I can be a regular part of not only the rotation, but in relationship. If you all are
Amen.
doing anything, I'll be more than happy to come and to be a part of that.
What people don't know is Christopher Williams came out of the Southeast Inspirational Choir with Yolanda Adams, Reese Joyner, and all them. So he is a
Man, that's
church. He is a church guy, and he helped produce that song for Regina Bell, that
Mm-hmm.
church song,
Yeah.
that little old
Yeah. This
foot
foot
stumper.
stomping. Yeah.
He helped
wow.
produce that too.
That's new
So
news to me. I never
yeah,
knew that.
yeah.
I
So
never knew he
Yes.
was a part of that choir.
so he's in church.
Wow.
And Vera was shocked that you still remembered her.
Man, I remember Vera. I mean, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Vera was a member of Mount Zion.
She was a member of
And
Mount
she,
Zion, born and
that's what I
raised.
thought. Because my dad, and like, my dad and Whitmill were so close.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When Whitmill pastored in Riverside, my dad was pastoring in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
I
Wow.
was born in San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
When my dad came to pick me and my mom up from the hospital, Pastor Whitmill was with him.
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, that's how close our families are.
Right.
Right.
And so my dad, when he pastored in LA, our choir would come to
Yep.
Mount Zion. Mount Zion would come to us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I forget the director of that choir. They had an amazing choir
Oh,
back
they had a
then.
choir.
And so I remember Vera not only because she was a part of that group, but because, and I believe my god brother Tony Cooper may have been a part of the Voices of Fulfillment. I can't remember. And Felicia Cooper,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
I,
You know who that is?
you know, you know
Yeah,
the
Felicia
Coopers as
Daniels.
Yeah,
well.
Different
you
name.
know Gloria Cooper and
Gloria
Felicia's last
Cooper's
name
my
is something
godmother.
different.
Daniels.
She's
But she
Felicia
was
Singleton.
Felicia
She
is
was
not
never
a
oh,
Cooper.
Cooper
yeah, that's
anymore.
right.
Right.
Which, yeah, she's not a Cooper. No.
Right.
Their last name is different, but Felicia and Tony are my brother and sister. I just talked to Gloria a few days ago. I was just there with them because my older brother Kenny Williams, his mother passed. Elder Lynch's wife.
Yep.
Elder
Yep.
Lynch's wife.
I sung in the choir at that service.
I was at the service. Let me tell you the story behind it. I don't know how much longer we have. My dad's first wife was Gloria Lynch. My dad was married to Gloria Lynch. And so Kenny and Murky are my brother.
And Kenny can play the organ like a
Right.
madman.
He's an organist. Yeah.
Ooh, you
No,
just
that's my
dropped the
brother.
You
mic
just
and
dropped
said
the
that.
you just I was like this.
You done dropped the mic
Right,
and
because
said
because she's from LA. Sister
Yeah.
Sister
Sister Lynch.
Gloria
Lynch
Lynch
is,
was
yes.
from LA.
Right. They were from LA.
She was close
Yeah.
friends with my cousin Linda Finch DeCure that was married to
Right.
Prophet Rogers DeCure.
They were at Refreshing Fountain, correct?
Mhm.
Church
Church
got
God in
right?
Christ. And they
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
church choir that could sing too.
Well,
back
I
in the
was
day.
I was sitting with the family. I was at the service. And so that's my brother. Murky's my brother. That my dad, we have the same father.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
Amen.
small
Yeah.
small world.
You officially got your San Diego pass with some roll tacos now.
Good. And
Yeah.
oh man, listen, can I tell you something? San Diego was the first place I had rolled tacos. My brother Kenny took me there years ago, and I haven't stopped eating them since.
Right. And Yolanda Adams used to come to Bishop Adams' church back in the day.
Yeah, I could tell you a whole nother story about that. She did.
Uh-huh.
Well, y'all, we gonna
Yeah.
continue this on and on. This is not gonna be Christopher Williams' last time with us. We know
Yes.
he has great gospel music coming out, but we want to share with you this hot new cut. Christopher, will you introduce it and we're gonna play it right here?
As I said again, this song is a song that I wrote because I want to encourage people to let go of fear and move into what they've been called to do, not just in some distant future, but to know that what's inside of you is needed, is necessary, and it's needed right now. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time.
Right here on GOD Radio 1.
.com.